go. Alright, third attempt. Welcome to My Voice is a Weapon podcast. I'm your host, your producer, your director. I'm Rod Grom. The first thing I want to do is get something out of the way before we go anywhere. Just to be clear, I am in no way, shape, or form any type of journalist. I'm just someone who likes to investigate stuff, especially news and events that the mainstream media do not cover for one reason or whatever. And what I'm gonna do in this podcast is basically that: try to investigate, go deep into the depths of hell on earth to bring not only the bad stuff, but the good news too. But things that we don't know about and we should know about, because I feel it's important, and I think there's a lot of information that has been hidden from the general public. And my intention is to bring that information into the light. So, I'm not gonna get into introducing myself too much right now. I'm gonna do this gradually down the line further. Something else that I need to do is apologize. I uploaded the first episode of this podcast a few days ago on Podbean and a few other platforms and websites. But because I know absolutely nothing about editing and improving the sound and all of that technical part, I'm just learning on the go. The first episode was terrible. I couldn't even understand what I was saying. So now I think this is much better. I've been watching a bunch of videos and learning a lot, so I hope that this is going to be a lot better. So, I digress. Let's get into the first story. Well, it's not a story. It's the first piece of news, which is not something new exactly. Okay, I was watching a very interesting documentary on YouTube by a channel by the name Barely Sociable. They have quite the following. They're close to get to 700,000 subscribers, and they have just, let's say, over 700, almost 800,000 views on this 3-part documentary, and I watched the third part. I haven't watched part 1 and part 2 yet, but because the title of this documentary was just so enticing that I decided to watch this first. The title says, Bitcoin, Unmasking Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto is supposed to be someone who doesn't exist, but it's the founder and creator of Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency. Now, maybe some of you don't even know what a cryptocurrency is. It's a new form of currency, completely digital, okay? Invented by computer nerds, geniuses, whatever the fuck you want to call them, okay? I think they're just engineers. They're way more intelligent than I will ever be, and so we're gonna start. The documentary is I recommend you subscribe to the channel again. YouTube channel called Barely Sociable. Alright, and they have very interesting stuff. It's a little bit the same as I'm doing here with uncovering underground news. Okay, so the whole thing is I'm gonna talk about it, but I'm not. I watched it a couple of times between yesterday and today. I need to watch it again so that I need to dig deeper into the whole story to understand it better. But apparently it's a group of people that developed Bitcoin. Okay, so it's not just one person. So maybe the real identity of Satoshi is many people. Okay, so there's a few names that they bring up in this documentary. 2 names came up first. One is Gavin Anderson. The second one is Mike Hearn. Now, Mike Hearn seems to be one of the developers, so he's one of the engineers behind it. So he really is someone who built the whole technology, let's say, all right? It's a new type of technology, I guess. Now, Gavin seems to be the person who was trying to get Bitcoin to be regulated, right? So Gavin Anderson was pushing for regulation of Bitcoin, and he succeeded apparently, because now I don't know for how long. I think maybe a couple of years, 2019 or 2020, but it's regulated now, so it is legal to own Bitcoin. I don't know if this means that any other forms of cryptocurrencies are legal. Maybe not all of them, maybe some of them, maybe for now just Bitcoin. I will have to investigate that a little further. But so far we've got Gavin and Mike Hearn. And at some point, this movement that became a company called Bitcoin had some sort of dispute. There were two groups that started to disagree with each other, and let's call it, there was a inside company civil war, where one of the groups was led by Gavin and the other by someone who called themselves or himself or herself Famous. Now, this is very interesting because there is no second name. It's just Famous. It sounds like something took out of a Greek mythology book, Greek god or whatever, and Famous. Okay, that's the name that came up. Apparently, Famous claimed to Famous at some point claimed self-ownership of Bitcoin. So Famous could very well be Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Also, Famous at some point was the one in charge of a discussion board on the internet for Bitcoin, a group of people that used to discuss ideas, but since he claimed self-ownership, he used that as an excuse to be able to actually censorship a lot of people on those discussion boards. So there was really no discussion. It was just him blocking other people from having any kind of contribution to what Bitcoin should be looking forward in the future. That's very interesting. Then another name comes in, and this is according to this documentary, this is the person that is supposed to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay? This is Adam Back, another engineer, very clever guy, super genius, and British. Now, why is that relevant? Why does it matter that he's British? Well, according to the documentary, this is important because the way he was sending emails, the way he wrote, there's a specific way that he was writing certain stuff, and Satoshi had the exact same way of writing and typing. So, according to them, also, the fact that Satoshi didn't go to great lengths to hide his real identity is just that nobody actually bothered to investigate who he really was. So that's why it was thought to be someone that didn't exist, or just someone anonymous who didn't want to be found, or whatever the reason was, right? But apparently this isn't the case. This was not someone who was trying to hide their identity, or that didn't have anything to do with Bitcoin anymore. This is actually someone who is still working with Bitcoin. They're very much active. And the Bitcoin movement or company, I don't know what to call it these days, okay? But this is very interesting because coming back to Gavin, who was pushing for regulation, then in 2016, I think they said that he finally regulated Bitcoin. Then, with the whole civil war between those two groups, there was this one of the groups, which was led by Gavin Anderson and Mike Hearn, developed what was supposed to be Bitcoin's big competition called Bitcoin XT. It ran for maybe 6 months, year. It had a pick of success, but then it didn't work. It failed, and the whole thing just dissolved. Someone else that appeared that was suspected to be Satoshi is Craig Stephen Wright. Now, this is someone who not only is involved with Bitcoin, but is one of the minds behind the whole modern deep web movement, or he really pushes for the idea of freedom of speech, no censorship, and privacy from governments and stuff like that. So this is extremely interesting. I would very much like to have whoever is in charge of that YouTube channel, I will say the name again, Barely Sociable, to interview them in a podcast. I don't know if it's just a person or if it's a group of people who's in charge, but I'm looking forward to maybe in the future have them here on the podcast. There's a lot that I want to talk about here. This is important. Why is it important? Because Bitcoin is now starting to get more publicity. More people are familiar with what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are. We're entering a new age. We all saw what happened in the past couple months, the first couple months of 2021, with the war between Redditors and Wall Street. Oh yeah, that's juicy. I like it. Yeah. So we saw what happened with that group of Redditors that bought actions from GameStop. Hold on. Yeah, that's okay. Because I've got notes on my iPad here that I'm reading. We all saw what's been going on. In the next episode, I might go a little deeper about that. But for now, we're just going to be talking about this. There's a lot. I want to talk about stuff that links governments to the deep and the dark web. Obviously, there's WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, all this intellectual movement that goes on, and it's linked to governments and the deep web and whatever, right? So we're gonna go in the next episode. I'm gonna talk about a little more about Julian Assange and what's been happening to him for the past 10 years, right? All the things that he brought up from Facebook and all of that craziness. We will bring that up. I will bring stuff that we didn't know about, that I've been reading. At least I didn't know about. Maybe some people know about this, but we're going to cover that on the next episode. Right now, I want to read a little piece here that I wrote that was special for the first episode. And since I fucked up the first episode, I'm going to bring it up again today. Now, I want to be clear that I wrote this and I did take some stuff from George Carlin, the comedian, a very famous comedian from U.S. from the 90s and the 80s, and the guy was just a great philosopher as well. He's just too smart for his own good. I want to be clear that I take part of things that I saw from him. I take some things from other comedians that don't come to mind right now. So I'm not stealing, I'm using stuff from them that I wrote here. But this piece, I wrote it, okay? And I want to be clear on this. I'm not a comedian either, okay? I just like to have fun. I like to laugh. And I think this is a good way to get shit off my chest. So I have this on my computer. Just a second. Let me open. Let's see, where was it? Not here. There. I wrote a piece called Democracy is a Prank. And I'm going to read it. Bear with me because I read faster than I talk. And I think most people do that. So sometimes I run, I mix words up, and so just bear with me, please. Okay, so democracy is a prank. Bullshit sells on display from Amazon to eBay, and everybody's buying. The market is full of it now. Institutions lying to society. The cyberpunk movement is infiltrated inside the machine to save the nation from a media crippling truth to death. Meanwhile, Assange is being tortured in prison for doing the right thing. Snowden has to hide in Russia because he's a whistleblower, and all he did was expose the powers that be to the public eye on how fucking corrupt they are. I mean, if anything, these guys are not criminals. They should be celebrated as heroes, not criminals. Be free in silence or die. That's their slogan. There are always two sides for every story, yet the truth is still hidden somewhere. Corporations spy on us, selling our privacy with cryptocurrency to billion-dollar companies. Become rich without money is another slogan they have. Less is more than nothing. Propaganda of depression, distracted to deceit. Social media is the new cocaine, making millions on the internet and becoming successful and famous, yet accomplishing nothing at all. Just showing fake happiness on Instagram with a plastic smile and big surgically repaired boobs. It's all a farce. Democracy is a prank that gave us Trump and Kennedy and made us believe in the cult of personality. Communism versus capitalism. All a part of a broken system to benefit the 1%. Since when does freedom offer only two options? Blue pill or red pill? How about a dick pill, huh? That's what I say. AI is a new drug that took over our lives. I can't live without my devices, and my phone is smarter than me. Voting for Brexit was not a choice because it binded multitudes to close down their shops while a pandemic hit and the unemployment increase broke records, obliging the workforce to stay home with no pay while those big tech companies that are linked to the government, by the way, still earn money. The opposition press censors the president, at the time Trump. CNN wants another impeachment just because he was voicing the concerns of the unheard. The one guy in the White House that was not politically correct and did what most in that position of power are terrified to do. Now, please don't get me wrong. I will never vote for Trump. I never thought he was the solution, but I recognize that he shocked the system from within. And that was a breath of fresh air in politics at the time. He also managed to do things that pissed off members of his own party, and I admit that I do like to see that. Something else to consider about the Trump administration is the fact that he might very well be the most vilified hero in the history of the United States. I mean, think about this. The guy was always accused of being a racist, a bigot, but the fact is, a lot of people did not know how to read what Trump was saying. They did not know how to handle him. So, they completely misinterpreted the guy. Here's what really happened. They wanted Trump. Well, Trump wanted to build a wall to keep illegal immigrants from coming in. Alright, he never really built the wall, but he did build an imaginary wall by reinforcing laws against illegal immigration. On the other hand, he avoided sending more troops to wars or getting involved in new wars. Instead, he managed to do the unthinkable and had a dialogue with Kim Jong-un, the dictator from North Korea. People still had the notion to call him racist. Well, think about this. Joe Biden, while working for the Obama administration, was the one that authorized sending more troops to Iraq and Afghanistan at a time in which the president himself, Obama, promised to stop wars and bring those troops back home while playing loosey-goosey with immigration laws, allowing illegal immigrants to get into the country and with that damaging small businesses and the economy of the country all at once. The unemployment rates that those same Democrats promised to take care of increased almost 6% during the Obama administration. So who's the real racist here? Trump? Well, I don't think so. Obama? Unlikely. Maybe Biden. Maybe Joe Biden is racist. Maybe Hillary Clinton is even more racist. Someone please let me know who the real racists are in this whole story, huh? Then we have left wing, right wing, all getting richer and richer, going to the bank, while the people do all the work and pay their taxes. Remember, folks, these are the taxes that they put on us. They are taxing us. They are the state. We are just the people living in it. Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, pro-choice, pro-life, upper class, middle class, poor. They divide us by making us believe in a system that never really existed to begin with. It was always an illusion. Well, if that ain't a prank, then what the hell is it? The fact is, everybody kills and everybody dies. Like it or not, we're all anti-life. That's the truth. Democracy is a prank that spits in the face of freedom, shows us the middle finger while yelling, "Fuck you all," right in front of our faces, with their passive-aggressive policies and their bullshit selling for millions of dollars on Wall Street. And we are just as guilty for buying all of their bullshit in the shape of massive dildos and for allowing them to make us bend over and shove it all up our asses with no lubricant, no butter, because we're too stupid and too gullible to change anything. We all cry. All we do is cry and complain without really doing anything about it. It's all a scheme to divide us, to make us feel like we have more differences than similarities, and that way we distract each other we distract each other by disagreeing with each other. And what do disagreements create? Conflict. They create conflict, and conflict creates hatred. So we hate each other because of their manipulations. It's a very clever way of fucking with us. That's the reason why there are so many broken families with wife-beating husbands, dead wives, and uncaring parents. Is because they succeed in distracting us from what the real issues are. We are all puppets in the hands of the establishment. We're not even capable of thinking for ourselves. That's the truth. The only reason we believe in freedom is because it is sold to us on TV commercials and other forms of ads. The biggest commercial of all is the United States flag. That flag is the slogan to which they want to sell freedom to us, and we fall for it every time. Every time. That's why we think democracy is a good idea. Well, here's a little secret. It's a lie. It's not a good idea at all. It's a lie told by car salesmen, realtors, senators, governors, and obviously the president-elect himself, which is why no one should be proud of the flag. And we should not be insulted when someone spits or burns the flag down. You want to know why? Because the flag is just a piece of cloth. It's a piece of cloth with colors and symbols that should never be the representation of the national pride. Because if a piece of cloth were to represent what a great country is supposed to be, and we believe in it, that proves how stupid and ignorant we all are. because it proves, just like George Carlin used to say, that we are all symbol-minded. But like I said, most of us do fall for that type of imperialistic propaganda through no fault of our own by choosing incompetent people to be in charge of the country. When I say through no fault of our own, of course it's sarcastically, okay? Because it is obvious that it is our fault. We voted them in. They're in charge. They're incompetent. Therefore, we are fucking retarded, okay? That's it. Now, I'm just using the United States as an example here. The analogy works with any superpower the same way. And if my country was that superpower, my rant will be even angrier, trust me. Obviously, I believe that there is such a concept as real freedom, but not the way that they sell it to us. I believe freedom should be given to us and should give us the right to have a multitude of choices, not just two, especially only two set by the establishment to make us think that we are, in fact, free, when in reality we're not, because that freedom comes tainted by deceit and manipulation and strings attached to it that makes it look like it's moving in our favor, when in fact it always moves in favor of the establishment. Alright, I digress. I needed to get that off my chest. I know that there's a lot of George Carlin in it. I took stuff that he said because I believe Carlin was an example to be followed. He was a very, very smart comedian. For me, he was more than a comedian. He was a philosopher, someone that always took every subject to the limitations of the human thinking ability. That's why Carlin was so interesting. Alright, so this was the first episode. We're almost 40 minutes in. I think this was pretty good. A much better product than the first episode that I uploaded a few days ago, last week. And I think this is much clearer. I can actually understand what has been said. There's no outside noises. And, well, there's much more that I want to do because this took me so long. I've been really struggling to finally put up with this. Actually, I recorded this earlier and I had to do it all over again because when I saved the work, all of a sudden I found out that it wasn't recording at all. So anyway, shit happens, life happens, right? So I think I'm gonna stop it here for this first episode. I hope you enjoyed. Next time, I hope it's gonna be better. I promise I will do my best to improve with time. And I hope I get a good amount of followers. I hope you guys are interested in the subjects and the themes that we're going to be talking about here. The idea is also to have a section of comedic, funny stuff. I also want to do some sports analysis. I'm a fan. I recently became a big fan of the NHL, although I'm still not very familiar with the rules. So if some of you, if any of you are a fan or fans of the NHL or ice hockey in general, please, if you would like to explain to me what the rules are, follow the podcast, subscribe. I've got a channel on YouTube where I'm going to be uploading some of the episodes. Maybe down the line I'll be working more on YouTube. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be using a camera as well. For now, this is just an audio version. I think let's start by the beginning. Let's work our way up. For now, this is just an audio version of the podcast, and I intend to keep it this way until the day comes that I'm better. And I hope to be able to start uploading and recording every day. So let's hope that if everything works, I'll have some material ready to upload tomorrow. This has been a blast. So this is going to be it for this first episode. I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen. And as I said, please follow podbean.com. What else? I'm also on buzzsprout.com. Follow the podcast. My voice is a weapon. Oh, just before we finish this episode, the idea behind the name is my voice is a weapon. When you, as the audience, read it, it means that your voice is a weapon because it's our voice, okay? This is intended to the general public, everybody that follows the podcast. When you read it, my voice is a weapon. Yes, it's your voice, okay? That's how it is intended to be. I thought about calling it Your Voice is a Weapon, but it sounds weird when you read Your Voice is a Weapon. It's not personal. You don't take it to your liking. So, my voice is a weapon is your voice. I digress. This has been all for today, and let's hope this works this time and I can finally upload this second episode, which is the real first episode because of the mistakes from the first time that I uploaded. So, yes, treat it as the first episode of this My Voice as a Weapon podcast. I'm Rod Grum, and I'm out of here. Enjoy life, folks. Goodbye.